Holy smoly, that is not what I expected. And I'm just like, this is how you make one this is how you make one assembler. It's clean, it's nice, it's beautiful. The old adage is true that you are what you eat. Well, at least these biters might make great engineers. Welcome back to the Factory Automation Nation. We are here in the space age, or at least the preliminary component of it, looking to get ourselves propelled into the great void in the sky. But for now, we are just going to be kind of chugging along with some of the earlier ingredients and pulling all the pieces together. So right now, we are well off on red and green. We've got some good logistical progression, and we're starting to feel a little bit capped on how much iron we have access to, but like overall we're in a pretty good space. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be traveling to the north to try to tap into some oil on over here, and we're actually going to try to bring it to our water patch here, and then maybe even later on we can pipe this stuff. But we want our refinery to be localized to this position just because then everything's in the same place. So that'll be cool. For now, though, we did get the train recipe research recently, so what we're going to be doing is making some rails. Not because we necessarily need them, but because we want to be able to just kind of bank them up and have them ready to go in the future. So we're going to go ahead and head over to stone, and we're going to need to route some extra stone here over to just the steel and the iron, which is where rails can be made. So first piece is going to be stone, out right, and now we're moving. We're going to be using the red, that's fine actually, the red logistics. So we're going to be using red conveyor belts, splitters, underground belts. Definitely seems like it's going to be worthwhile to kind of just make that a habit and not try to just like be finicky about between the rank 1 and the rank 2 or anything like that. We just want to kind of keep things consistent, and frankly the reds aren't that hard to come by. So what we're going to do is we grab some coal, interestingly enough, is we're going to be going ahead and bring this up top here. Maybe we'll give some extra space so it can be like here. And what that will allow us to do is then in this area start making the different materials. So it's iron stick, steel plate, and stone. We don't need a lot of it, just enough to kind of keep things moving. We'll put another filter on this with just iron plates only. Again, the right side is usually what I go with. And yeah, at this point you could actually just take it off the line, turn it into iron sticks here. I think it probably needs a blue. We'll see. But yeah, make the sticks. Bring those out. Or is it? No, it's the reverse, right? This will be, it's fine to be a yellow inserter, but I think this needs to be a blue one because you have the 2x on a pretty short cycle. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and say we have everything we need right here. Maybe we could do a little trick like this. I like that. So we can then pull from each of these into our maker. And now we just put it in a box and we're good. Let's go ahead and say, right, here's good, and bam. Speed it up, bud. Cool. Probably will default to fast inserters a lot more in the future, but yeah, this is a great production. So this is going to fill this box up in no time, and that'll give us a good head start for when we do end up using the rails. In the meantime, yeah, we do want to make the oil stuff happen, so we're going to be heading out to the north. I have a car around here somewhere. There it is. We good on this stuff? I think we're pretty good. The biggest thing that we need to do is route our electricity. I don't think I made many. Okay, I made a decent few big electric poles. Make a few more pump jacks, I think, as well. And that will cover a lot of our basic needs. And we can bring a little bit extra steel along with us to make sure that we have everything we need up there. But yeah, we got the oil refineries, the chemical plants. Gonna need a lot of pipes. Yeah, we can actually pull that from our pipe manufacturer as well. Okay. I'm digging it. I think we're in a pretty good spot. Go ahead and grab those pipes and we'll head on out. It's much more condensed in the pipe to ground, basically the underground pipe setup. And we can always use those a little bit more frequently at this stage just to take advantage of that. Technically, like you get the same distance out of it, but less chance of something walking over top of it. And yeah, the reduced stack, the increased stack size density is really good. So yeah, we are going to be heading up here. Looks like we'll have to avoid routing through the iron patch as we head through a bit of a forest. And I'm forgetting the electricity part, which is very important. So we're going to go ahead and head back here, make sure we got the power we need. And yeah, I remember the first time I placed a large electric pole, big electric pole, and I'm like, okay, it's big, but what's the point? It doesn't go very far. Turns out you gotta have the big electric poles talk to each other. So we'll do a little bit of this action here and should be ready for this. Okay, great. So now we're gonna place some pump jacks. Should be going here. We could either try to route where the force isn't as dense and then bring it to the east. I guess that works. So it's all them, and then we just give them the power they desire. There we go. All right. And now, like I was saying, this kind of seems like the best patch. There's just a lot of wood over there, and early game does take quite a while to plow through the wood. You could drive over it, and that's kind of okay, but yeah, let's just say, like, if we just did this, and I like to just hold W, that'll give us a good indication. And then what we're actually going to be doing is a lot of these undergrounds instead, which you flip it and you do this. What you can do instead is like this. Okay. Yeah, you're not helping anymore. Thank you, though. Something like this, and that way you just know you're always putting at the right distance, that maximum distance there. So we'll just keep doing that. It's nice. I meant to do this, actually. So you copy paste two of them, and then you just lock in on the one above, which is nice. And then we'll do the shift, hold shift here, so we know that there is a tree to destroy here. And it all should kind of play out. But yeah, so we do this, and it automatically kind of flips it as you hover the go of the ghost. And you see these dotted lines here. This is actually kind of indicating like the underground pipe flow, which is very nice. As your liquid networks and generally your logistics get a lot more complicated, that's just going to be such a nice indicator for where everything's at. So yeah, pretty crowded forest, but we can work through it. Do we need the visual is the question. I think we can work without it. Yeah, we're okay. And then are we far enough? No, we need to get all the way out of here. So basically bringing oil all the way back to the base and then going from there. Is that really not obstructed? Wild. Cool. So if everything's done correctly, we should have... Yeah, it says oil's in there, so seems like we're not too far off the mark. And we are out of the woods, quite literally. This last one here. Okay, so then we can turn it to the east. And do the same thing, but rotate it. Bam. Probably should go put a turret over by the oil. They do produce pollution, just kind of going through that whole thing. Sure, there's a better way to do this. Don't call me Shirley. Yeah, that'll get us where we need to go. I'm kind of used to another, like an overhaul mod of the, like, Factorio and a few others. Like, even I think Industrial Revolution had a longer range on underground pipes, which is pretty nice. Part of that actually does help technically the flow rate. Not in the new version of Factorio, but the old version, Factorio 1.0, was actually quite limited by the amount of entities that water passes through. Okay, this will be a great area for the refinery where we don't have to chop anything down. So this is where we are bringing everything together. Are we able to kind of hook everything up from there, or are we worried about the copper line? We can bring it slightly down. No harm in that. So we'll do it. We'll do a whole horizontal line right here. Perfect. And that'll be the line. We have to run up, grab a car, drop off a turret, and then we're good to go. In the meantime, we are dropping off our red and green. And in just a little bit here, we're going to be having our blue science pack technology to be making the next tier of technologies. So go ahead, since we're just doing some running here, I can go ahead and pull up the image. This is the build map for what we're going to be working on today. It's going to involve taking crude oil, doing the basic oil processing on it, and turning that out into sulfur and plastic. We don't need that much sulfur. It's mostly going to be plastic, but we still definitely need a decent bit of both. So go ahead, fill these guys up and head back over. But yeah, so it's going to be water and petroleum is what the basic oil processing produces. That's going to be going into our sulfur, and then the coal and petroleum is going to be going into our plastic. And if we look at the map here, that's one of the reasons why we need to make sure that we're bringing everything in together, is we're also going to be, having to route a decent chunk of coal down here as well. Which is not a bad thing, but it does just take a little bit of distance, a little bit of time. There we go. That's a nice way to just kind of chop through there and ignore anything that might stop you. And of course, we're not going to need to run the other oil lines now. It's just an expansion. It's just a way to expand into a space where we can make this scalable, make this work. So we'll go ahead and then look into sending electricity over to the coal and getting a little mining rig going with the electric mining drills. Let's go ahead. Where's the nearest electricity? All the way over there. Not perfect, but at least it sets us up to get this iron very soon as well, which will be nice when we do that. All right, here we go. Cool. So we got that one online. That one is fine too. Go right past the iron, which is great for the future, and then we'll go right over to the coal. Which is also covered in trees, trees, trees. Beautiful, pollution-devouring trees. If only they weren't fully in the way, that would make things a little easier, but it's fine. Honestly, we're not going to need that much coal, right? I can't imagine it's consuming this vast quantity, but one day maybe. So we can start things off like this, saying, okay, this is kind of the top end of it. This is where it gets juicy right here. 86, very good. Okay, so let's go ahead and just say this. We can always work on the rest later. We're just trying to avoid over saturating one position on the resources. So we'll do something like this. Cool. Done with all that. probably overdid it a bit, but at the end of the day, it's not going to hurt us. Yeah, let's go ahead. We'll just reel it back a little bit. Honestly, I would say even these are fine. The amount that can be consumed for plastic cannot be that much. It's like 2 plastic for 1 coal every second. So I'm kind of just fine with these, but we'll see how it goes. Right now, we've got this guy, the big electric pole, can sit in between them. That's where your substations usually work their magic, but since we don't have that yet, we're just gonna go ahead and do it the old-fashioned way. There we go. So. Okay, and then we'll have to bring it to the west, southwest. Alrighty. I think that'll do it, and then whatever graphic box that was that showed me where it was under the trees, I appreciate that, because that gives me very important information. Yeah, theoretically this is long enough that you might want to run a train line, but it's definitely still faster just to belt it. And certainly not going to interfere with anything if I do it that way. Besides, we really don't even have all the train research stuff, so here we are. All right, so we're going to be doing top-down for a general layout. So we can go ahead and probably just leave it here for the moment. And now, just while I'm thinking of it, I'm going to go ahead and put some defenses down. Wouldn't want that to get out of hand. Okie dokie. So what do we have here? We're going to be going ahead, and I guess this is a great time to go ahead and think about our factory planner. I haven't talked about this much. In the future, what I'm going to be doing is having it set up so that the factory plan is all done in advance. You're not going to have to like see me work through it, but for those that are less familiar with it, I would love to just kind of go through it one time, and that way we kind of make sure everybody's on the same page of what this stuff means. So this stuff is all good, all fine. Districts I haven't even played around with yet. That seems like it's going to be better for planet-wide stuff, but let's just focus on making a factory. So we're going to be making a factory for blue science, and that way we know how much plastic we're looking to produce at this point in time. So we're going to go ahead, choose the chemical science pack. Let's say we want 20 per minute. That's just, you know, a rough estimate. It could be too much, could be too little. But yeah, that's going to be, if we can then change what machine this comes out of, we want it to be this, and we can actually save as default. So that will be our, moving forward, that'll be what we want to go with. And that's kind of similar to what we've been doing with red and green. We could easily bump this up. We could say if we wanted 30, 40, 60. This is a nice round number. We'll go ahead with 8 for right now. So what do we need? We're in matrix mode. There's just between the two, this one is more flexible. Like if you take something out, put something back in, it's fine with it. This one consolidates a lot more, so I like matrix mode. Anyways, we need what for blue science? We need to be able to make engine units. So that's going to be steel. It's going to need iron gear wheels. It's going to need, you know, the iron plate inputs itself, and that's going to get you, and then pipe manufacturer as well. All that stuff kind of all in one space. We can go ahead and change this up to a steel furnace for the extra rate, and everything's looking fine. Then we just need to go ahead and get advanced circuits and sulfur. Well, sulfur is going to be pretty straightforward. We just need less than one chemical plant from the refineries to make that happen. Whereas advanced circuit is going to be taking in more components here. I guess we can put sulfur underneath that. Yeah, let's just take it out for now, and we'll bring it back in at the end when we have all the oil stuff down at the bottom together. So for right now, we'll just do electronic circuit and our 450 copper cables per minute in total, which is going to need 2.5 machines to operate it with the assembly machine 2. So 6 red circuit makers, 1 green circuit maker, 2.5 copper cable makers, and then you've got, last but certainly not least, plastic and sulfur coming in. So these are going to be your big ones. You're going to need, just looks like 1 chemical plant of each. We're certainly going to be setting up a few more than that for the future. And we'll just double check, make sure that nothing takes up more than half of a belt worth of space. So copper cable takes up 1/4 of a belt of space. That's probably the highest you're going to see. Everything else doesn't take up more than half. And the reason, obviously, more than half is would be a problem is because generally that means that you can't like put 2 things on the same belt. If you want all of, like, for example, your copper cables to go to a set of machines, you would have to double side it and put the copper cable on the top and the bottom, or the left and the right, and not be able to ride share with the other potential ingredients. So, but because it's below 0.5, there's nothing stopping me from just loading up, doing this whole workflow with what we have here. All seems pretty straightforward. If we wanted to double it, we could, and make like 60 per minute and make that our new benchmark target. I don't think there's a problem with that either. And so you'll see if I did bump this up to 60 per minute or 1 per second, you're going to see just all the machine counts change, but it's not going to be that much harder to fit all this into a singular space. So let's go ahead and do this. I like it. And you'll see we're making 16 machines. So you can then, make it a nice little small thing here. You can even kind of move it off to the side, and it'll just kind of give us a reference for what we're building. So for right now, we are at the refinery stage. I guess we didn't necessarily say how much oil we're going to need, so we'll hit the petroleum button. It'll say we are oil refining just over 4 machines. We'll make sure we make 5 or more refineries to make that work. So with that in mind, we've got the refineries here. They're ready to rock and roll. Now that they've got the crude oil input, which I believe will be on the top side along these lines, we set up our basic oil processing, and we just want to not screw that up for no reason. Go ahead and do that. And with a shift right click and a shift left click to copy and paste the recipe, and a little bit of electricity spreading out from most likely our base is probably going to be the closest locale. We already have the big electric pole up, so I believe it'll just stretch to here. Yeah. Something like that. Alrighty, and then we can just run along here. Make sure everything is happy and working. Cool. So what's next? Of course, we are going to be needing to take this line and make a petroleum line here. I guess, I don't know if I want to set it up for the future so much. Yeah, we need to give it space, for sure. You can easily make the mistake here of being like, okay, yeah, let's just run petroleum and the chemical plant's right next to it. Totally valid. But we want to go ahead and just make a petroleum line here. That will give us more room to work with in general. Because later on we're going to do, of course, advanced oil processing. And while I might not have like a perfect memory of how that works, I know that we are not going to be wanting to take up all that space outright. So we'll just give a nice long bit of distance to work with. Now the petroleum is all pumping here, and we've got, looks like 8 refineries, which is almost double what we actually needed for the current plan for the build, which is, so that means we could do, let's say, 3 chemical plants for plastic and still 1 for sulfur. No problem at all. I definitely thought it would be more, but that's fine. And yeah, I don't see any reason why we can't just, I just want to give it the space in case we need to grow. And so I'll go ahead and just give it a couple spaces. The water will be really easy to get. We've got offshore pump action somewhere here. And let's go ahead and see where it'll end up being. Okay. Alrighty. And then the rest... Well, it's like if we want to make like a space for the sulfur line, then we could just do these over here instead. Say, well, if it's all gonna work like that, we can just make 1, 2, 3. I don't know, maybe we do 2 and 6. Just say like, okay, it just feels weird to like leave it all so barren, even if we're not using it, the material right now. So 2 and 6 is what we're gonna start with, and we'll just okay. So even here, if we do it like this, we're actually kind of shooting ourselves in the foot because the water line can't go past. So even this should technically be further down. So we'll go ahead and we'll say that this is here instead. Fluids just need a little bit more space, a little bit more room to breathe, and the reason is because of how complicated it can get if you are not allowing the particular fluids to spread out to the right inputs. Like this here, and then of course our petroleum here. Cool. And these guys will be our plastic ones. And that one should be more free to just pipe its way in. Less complications for that one, for sure. The biggest thing is they do require a coal input. So that's all like a hard resource. But what we can do then is go ahead and say, just make sure I have a better idea of what. We're going to leave it cut at the top, so it's only a half belt of coal coming in. And that way we can make it very simple, saying input, input, output, output. Copy this so we don't screw it up somehow. Love the little sound effects and how different they are from how they used to be. And then, yeah, we'll just go ahead and put one at the endpoint for each of those. Stretch it over to here. Guess we'll have one for the conveyor belts. Yeah, we'll have inserters here too. So all cool. Stretch a little bit of electricity, set up a filter, and we're basically there. Surely this, yeah, it's fine. So I have this. Just plastic, thank you. And then you got this whole setup. And the question simply becomes, where do we want it? And I think we can all just kind of input it to the southern end here, so that'll be good. In case we do want to bring a full line of plastic later and have a different expand our setup, I'm going to go ahead and keep the sulfur and plastic line separate. But if you're okay with thinking on a smaller scale, then you could theoretically combine the plastic and the sulfur and then do filters to break them apart once they get to the base. That's totally valid too. Okay, so we have those materials. We can check these off. So we have this covered, this covered, this covered. What else do we want to be doing to make our blue science? Well, we want to be bringing in a few more raw materials. We've got our oil, our water. We need to be bringing in copper plates, iron plates, and coal. And actually, we probably can just take this out and say that steel is going to be an input as well. They made the whole effort of bringing this in offsite or making it already kind of set up. So yeah, I just want to bring in all of those into the factory. So we can actually make this so it just keeps going as we kind of look at it. But yeah, we're going to be bringing in about a quarter belt of copper plates, iron plates, and a very small amount of steel plates coming in. And yeah, we can of course set this up here. So the input, this is already a priority input, so this works perfect. We can go ahead and just duct this under. And this is all our copper plates right now. So both of these are right on the money for making sure that they're in the right position. The last thing, of course, we need is that steel. I think the simplest way to go about it, since those are there, yeah, I'll just go ahead and do this. So we'll go ahead and route it back around. There's a few other ways I could do it that take up less space, like trying to... I guess if we're just putting it in a box, we might as well just completely reset the direction. So, yeah. There's nothing over here that it needs to be going to. It's not like it was already accounted for elsewhere. So we can just go ahead and send this on down. Let's say we actually just want it here. Perfect. And perfect. And there you have it. We have all our inputs now. We have our plastic, our sulfur, and our steel. That is going to be the key materials to make all this come through. So where do we want to start with this? Where do we want to build it at? I think we're going to continue to build it. Oh, we ran out of those. Of course we did. So we might have to... Let's see how far... Oh, we're actually pretty far along with this. I was worried that it wasn't going to get the materials that it needed to really make this work. So the fact that it's doing okay is good to hear. Alrighty, so... And in fact, we're loading up our inventory here. A little bit of it is just extra material from before. Some of it we can even get to... Oh, we don't have the iron raw. Okay. All good. So, as I was saying, we are going to be wanting space for about 40, 50 machines, let's say. And we're going to be building it all over in this area. So, we'll just run it across for now. This should give us plenty to work with. All right, so starting point is going to be our copper. We're going to need 5 copper cable makers. So we can go ahead and just... Shorter than I thought. All right, and same here. And we might need a little bit more because we're obviously not fitting 5 makers in that space, so assemblers. So we'll just do this and hope we can work with that. So yeah, that's 4. I guess that, yeah. No, what I'm just gonna do this and it's gonna be fun. What else do we need copper for anyways? It's just gonna go straight into it, right? There's no raw copper plates needed. So we'll go ahead and just do this. Start it here. I'm going to go ahead and upgrade this to blue because I know that copper plates in particular, or copper cables in particular, can be finicky in terms of inserter throughput. If we just scooch aside, we save ourselves a cable there. Alrighty, how are we doing on power, by the way? That's probably a good look. It looks like production is close to capacity, to the point we very well may need to expand on it one way or another. Let's go ahead and make a few boilers here if we don't have a problem with that. Oh, by the way, I kind of had this confusion of why is there spoilage in my inventory at all last playthrough, and it's because of the fish. The raw fish are only fresh for a couple of hours and they tick away, and it might be the only change in Factorio 2.0 that I'm not super happy with, because fish is like the permanent solution to all life. You just grab it and you have it and it's great. And now I have to worry about how fresh it is? That's madness. Does it average up the freshness to try to keep the stack, like simplify the details of the stack? It just says, oh yeah, you got more time because some of the fish is fresh. Interesting. I was curious how that would work. If there's like, 2 minutes left on 10 fish and then you pick up 10 more, how that all plays out. But there you have it. Anyways, I was going to try to expand power real quick before we get too caught up in the weeds of everything we're working on right now. So let's do that. Where are my boilers at? Didn't make them. Didn't have the space. Now we do. All right, and at the very least we do have the space here. And that's a rock. And then we're going to go ahead and drop this here if it has the space. Oh, we do need landfill for the first time. One singular piece of landfill, which we can somehow make. Perfect. All right, that should do it. We'll do it on the right side so that it connects over and we can expand based off of that. There we go. All right, so all that is online. We can, of course, get into solar panels pretty soon, too. Might as well just kind of craft a few while I'm waiting for it. We're making electronic circuits right here, right now, so we're not going to need a bunch of them just kind of hanging out. Let's go ahead and get those circuits rolling. We definitely need blue belts for these. All right, so green electronic circuits is going to require iron as well. So we can go ahead and break off some of that and bring it over here. Again, we can just do that. There we go. So we got that action going on. We want to make green circuits, so what we will do is we just need the two. Nice and easy. Keep it simple here. Minimize the required space. Well, that's the thing, is if it needs more than just the two copper cable makers in terms of input, then that would be an issue. So here we need 540. That's most of the copper cable. So we're actually going to need to make sure that they're past these the fourth inserter here. So we'll do this. And then, yeah, the iron can go here, right? And on the top part, specifically, because then we can go ahead and do the same thing we did before, which is this. And then we just have to filter it up after. right, so only the green is coming out from these two machines, which I think is rounding at this point. It's actually, no, it's just two machines running full time. Do they have an issue running full time? Do they have enough material? It looks like they might need faster. Okay, so we'll do this, and then we'll do these two, and that'll guarantee that we are running at the right speed. And then, yeah, we have now the red science, the advanced circuits. Why did I say red science? You know what I mean, red circuits. The advanced circuits, we need 180 plastic per minute, and then we need more copper cable, and the green circuits themselves. So we can go ahead. We could do a couple things here. I think the easiest one is the only place plastic is needed. So we can just go ahead and do this. We actually just want it. Yeah, we can just put it on this line right here. This is the only place copper cable is needed. This is the only place plastic is needed. So it's perfect. These guys will meet up. And then they will be the source of one of the two sources for that. So we just have to do this to put the on the top side. And we do basically the exact same layout as before. But now we have 12 advanced circuit makers here. They'll be doing the input-output. And we got to make a few more of these. Luckily, it doesn't take too much because we already have all those beautiful settling machine 1s ready to be upgraded. We just need a little bit more in the iron gear wheel department. So we can go ahead and grab some of this, but I know there's a box. And we're going to make sure we make the most of that box. All right. Don't think we'll be needing any raw plastic or sulfur anytime soon. We'll go ahead and ditch that. There we go. This is the more of what I had in mind. All right, so we need 12. We have 6. And we'll just go ahead and line it up like that. No big deal. Yeah, let's go ahead and just blue it up for this one. Make sure that we're getting all the input materials a good rate. Actually, like, so I'm going to close this out now for the time being. If you look at it, it says rotation speed 864 per second. So you basically know how many times it can rotate. And if you know how many things it can carry, that's basically that's the amount of times that it can bring something. So it's not quite 3 per second. It's more than 2 items per second. But it's like, obviously, based on the recipe, that, you know, there's certain times where that's just gonna be more or less necessary. So I like the flexibility of just saying, hey, blue inserters for everybody. It might not always be necessary, but it's never going to be a poor choice. And then, of course, for output, you're only making, I think, 1 per 6 seconds. Yeah, 1 per 6 seconds. So you definitely don't need more than the yellow inserter for the output here. All right, and with that, looks like we'll have to do a little bit of this here. See how much better these are than the small electric poles? It's insane. Guess we do like a little bit of symmetry, so we can go ahead and do this. And this little guy right here. And suddenly, they're going to be pulling that. We just need to give them the last little materials. All the copper, cable, and plastic they desire. All good to go. All right, and that is 1/3 of our project done completely. Actually, 2/3 if you count the sulfur, which we do. So we'll go ahead and just knock these off the list. All we have to do is take our steel, make a couple of iron contraptions, and blammo, you've got engine units. 14 of those is going to take a little bit of space, but that's okay. I guess we'll keep, I don't know. You guys can leave in the comments whether you like the feel of having this in the corner as like a to-do list. Or not. I think it'll get more crowded in the future, might be a point of concern. Maybe now that we've kind of checked those off the list, we can bring it all the way down here. And you can just kind of give you a little reference point of what I'm working towards here. I think that's not too bad. Not too intrusive. But if you feel otherwise, definitely let me know. All right, so simply put, we just need 0.67 or round it up to 1, which I'm glad they do the rounding up. Even in this case, 1.3, you know, basic rounding, you would usually round down to 1, but for a production requirement, you need to make sure you hit the bottom line, even if it's 1.01, you know? So in this case, we're definitely wanting to do 2 assembling machines for the pipes. So we just need iron going to 3 different assembling machines. Our copper is done. We can kill that. Our steel will be used later. We can send that along. This is where the rest of our iron will go, right? Yeah, we don't need any iron after this. So what we're going to do is bring it right here, about 4 blocks or so. And then bam, bam. Now we need a third one, right? Perfect. And in it goes. Oh, where's the output go? We can't share this space. That doesn't work. All right, so maybe we don't go that route. What do we want to do instead? I still love the amount of space we've accumulated here, but it does seem like we're going to need to maybe do something more like a little switcheroo. A nice easy way to do a switcheroo like this, you have like iron and steel. You want the steel to be on the top side instead. You'll just do the filter and you put it on the left side here. And what you'll see is now suddenly the iron has no place to go but towards the bottom. So we'll go ahead and do that little switch. I like that. And that will allow me to actually do what I was trying to do here, which is not necessarily line up with those, but line up with this. The 3 materials. The trick is that the pipes and the iron gear wheels need to be on opposite sides, but as soon as we solve that, we have no problems. We'll start with the pipes. That is going to be under logistics. And then we have the iron gear wheels. I don't think I need space for this, but just I might have to readjust. We'll see. Right now, we know that all that requires is a little bit of that. And if we look at the rates, it needs 2 items per second, 2 iron plates per second, because it has a half of crafting time, and it needs 4 items per second from the iron gear wheel, which actually might be too fast for this. Yeah, this thing can't do 4 items per second, so we'll end up doing 2 of these and 1 of these each. Hopefully that could work. Nice, that 1 electric pole can handle all of that stuff, but what about the outputs? Well, it's going to be 2 items per second here and 2 items per second here. So nothing too complicated there, just your basic blue inserter. But the trick I was saying is that, as I screwed up already, is that you're going to need to make sure that the bottom half of the belt is free for your materials. Otherwise, you're gonna have to like make them from 2 different sides or something like that. So we have this here. It's gonna be perfect along with the steel. Just flowing. And I guess we can just bring that sulfur along as well. We now have everything we need. Probably actually don't want it all the way up here. We're gonna bring it back down. And we're gonna be making 14 assembling machines worth of this stuff. And we just have to wonder, are we going to be putting it on the top? Of course we are, because we like that efficiency. So we're going to be going ahead and doing it more like this. And we've got ourselves everything we need for the engine units. We need 14. This is 8, I think. Yep. 1 too many. All right. And there we go. Alrighty. And we now have a large amount of blue science about ready to go. All we got to do is, again, make sure the inputs are good. These take a while, right? This is like 4 pieces every 10 seconds. So these guys don't need anything but yellow. Even for the multiple ingredients. And then, yeah, same thing up here. Yeah. Plenty of those, and one more of those. All right. So it doesn't work like that. You can't just hold it down, unfortunate. We'll just go ahead and do this, and then I will focus on copying the ones on the outside first, just so I don't have to do a bunch of flipping. Alrighty, and then just to keep everything, well, we can't keep everything in line based on what we're looking at. It does look like it's gonna be, I guess we do something like this, just to at least have symmetry within the individual structure. And one there. All right, everything's online. A lot for a little, but we got it. And now we have Sulfur, advanced circuits, and engine units. We just got to put all the pieces together into 16 assembling machines. We can go ahead and filter out the red, throw it on the right there, hold F to clear the filter to make sure nothing gets clogged up, and we can do the same for our engine units. The left side seems fine to me. Alrighty, and then we just kind of want it over here, I presume. Is it to the point where we want to try to... We don't want to send it all the way through here, right? That doesn't make any sense. I mean, it makes sense in a very hyper-efficient way, but, like, let's just put the extra effort into sending it here, and then we can have the blue go out on a red long-handed inserter. Okay. So what we'll do here... Yeah, space is not a major concern for what we have going on, so we shouldn't worry about it too much. Let's put right filter priority on that instead. And then probably something more like this, this, and this is what we want. Yep. And then clearing that, we now have exactly what we need down this way. And we'll just do a red-handed inserter to finish the job. So. All right, just making sure we don't screw up the positioning. We can start it as far out as we want, really, because we can just continue this line, right? No, sir. That won't do it. Now we need 16. We are looking at perfect. On the money. Exactly what we need. As far as the inputs, yeah, no problem. We'll just use yellow inserters for everything here. Why don't we just triple it up there? Cool. Just like to make sure we're putting everything in the right spot. Yeah, the nice thing about copy paste is it works from any distance, whereas shift right click and left click takes a little bit of proximity. Alrighty. And then we're gonna go ahead and do the same thing here, but we're gonna do long-handed inserters on the outside here. Anytime I see an unsolvable problem in terms of like getting something to fit, long-handed inserters are very commonly the solution. There you have it. Not the like neat and tidiest, but a relatively space efficient breakdown of blue science that will allow it to operate just as needed. Bam. What's done is done. And close out this one. And then all we have to do is send a belt out this way. We are getting low on belts once again. But yeah, in theory, we could either bring the reds and the greens down this way, or we could try to force a lab to work that way. But I think it's just going to be better to move our lab down here. And we probably need to make a few more labs as well. Transport belts go into labs? Interesting. I'm curious why that would be. Why would you need a transport belt inside of a lab? I don't... Like, I would say it's more likely you need one in an assembling machine than you would need it in a lab. But, you know, who knows how this mysterious science stuff works. We just push the buttons. Okay. So, yeah, I suppose we can go ahead and tear down everything here. Sure. I do at least want to give some space to the laboratory. Plenty of other things we can do in this area in general. So we'll go ahead and I guess start from here. This looks good. And so the labs can then... Trying to think how we might want to do it differently as we get more sciences. Let's at least move this 2 over, and then we can probably do doubles. That's fine. Like do the red-handed inserters and stuff to get that all sorted away. For now, it's pretty simple. Just put it all in. There's some people that daisy chain their labs and they just have like them inserting into each other. But you think about it, the longer that daisy chain gets, the substantially, not exponentially or whatever, but like much more substantially, the electric cost for those inserters rises and rises, because then suddenly this inserter is having to carry the weight of like 20 labs or something, and it's that one's doing 20 times the work that it needs to. This one's doing 19. This one's doing 18 times. It's just like, it's a lot. Let the inserters chill. And it was a weird sound effect, like a little cackle almost. Happy Halloween. All right, that's good for now. We'll go ahead and distribute some of the blues we picked up along the way. We'll finish up the top side of the inserter action. I was going to do that. It's like, yeah, let's go right to left. That makes more sense. And then here we are. Alrighty, we do have some power over here. Might as well tap into it. And beautiful thing is that we can just hold down here and run, and it should just be smart enough to figure itself out. Wonderful. Alrighty. Well, that works for me. And that's going to allow us to start kind of getting into the good stuff when it comes down to sciences. Is there anything in particular? Advanced oil processing and doing the whole like oil cracking and stuff is nice. It's more efficient for sure. But I'm also really not worried about burning into our oil too hard. So maybe we'll chill on that, and we'll just look into like maybe the electric furnaces, which you kind of already have the setup for. That kind of stuff is good too. Got the stack inserter, those are great. There's so many little things you can kind of get into at this stage in the game. It's really nice. Well, I'm going to ponder that for a moment, and we're going to go ahead and just take ourselves a little break. Again, it's always good to remember that you are the most important machine in the factory. It's a great opportunity to just take a step away for a second here, whether it's grabbing a drink, checking your posture, stretching your wrists, walking around a little bit, or looking across the room and focusing on something else just to keep your eyesight healthy. Lots of different things to do, but yeah, I'm going to take myself a little break and think about our next steps, and hopefully you can take a break along with me. I'll be back in a sec. All right, welcome back. We are going to be continuing today's playthrough, just stretching it out a little bit more. We've got the oil covered. We've got the blue science packs coming in at a pretty good rate, 60 per minute. I went ahead and double checked, and it looks like red and green are about this already covered in terms of prerequisites here. We've got 6 of the 6.6 red science packs, automation science pack manufacturers. Then we've got 6 of the 8 green ones. The bigger problem is we're lacking iron. We are not going to be able to do too much here if we're not able to get enough iron to these inserters, and therefore allowing them to make what they need to. It's getting gobbled up a little bit too much, I would say, by the other stuff. So we're going to go ahead and take off this output priority. Hopefully that will get a little bit more, not necessarily for the electronic circuits, though they, of course, have been very helpful. More concerned about getting it to the actual inserters, which again are kind of chained behind all this stuff. Like, it kind of needs to satisfy the iron gear wheels, the pipes, and the electronic circuits before it even gets to the inserters to really satisfy that. So if there is a flaw in this plan, I think that's one of the bigger ones. And we just don't have that much iron output. The idea was like we could always just add more, but the realistic aspect of that is not so much. There's a little bit of challenge that comes with that, in the sense that you only have like this kind of smaller starting patch to work with, and yeah, you can only really bring on so much more. So we'll go ahead and add a couple here where we can. 3,500 resources there, 3,200, but we're also running into power issues. So I did set up some handcraft while I stepped away, and we are good to go with boilers and a lot of steam engines, and even some of the solar panels as well. Got a stack of those. So if we can go ahead and just expand on this, and then we're going to need to obviously deviate a little bit to make things work. What we're probably going to end up doing is something. Let's see, we could do inserters here in between. Yeah, I like that. So let's go ahead and say this. Well, we need more space than that, right? Because they're going to go up the right side. So I think it's more like this is going to be our baseline expectation of, there's an inserter here. This is only assuming we have enough water flow. I think there is a limit to how much, let's see, it consumes 6 per second. We have a lot of water. I will say that. Oh, these guys aren't even working because there's no water. That was a silly slip up on my part, but we can easily remedy that just by putting this here and then attaching it, and then if we need to fill it in later, we will. But that will help the power in the short term, and then we'll want to expand on that. Interesting. Is this network not What is wrong with this readout? There's some details missing. So, why does it kind of infer that it's only... This is all connected, right? Is it possible that the connection that I made right here is not actually connected to the grid and it's only showing it's happy because, yeah, it's only showing it's satisfied because there's nothing drawing from it. But now it's actually on the grid. These guys are actually going to be able to contribute. Yeah, of course the inserters aren't complaining because they're connected to a power source. But yeah, we wanted something a bit more clear cut there. So we'll go ahead and do that. And then give these guys what they need. Just going to be these here. And here. Bam. Okay. That's a little bit more online. And then we can do probably one more here. We do not have enough space. We just barely do. Okay. To do these last two here. But if we want to do the steam engines, then we don't. So we'll do steam engines here instead. Ignore this one. Ignore these two. And reconnect that water line. So instead, we're going to be mostly building up this direction as we rotate everything 90 degrees until we run out of water, which if it's only 6 per second of water on this boiler, that's really low. You get like 1,200 from an offshore pump. So that's a lot of coverage we have. We'll go ahead and run this underground belt over to here to then bring this up. Of course, we're going to try to clean up our power source with the solar panels here in a little bit, but like I've said before, they are quite a pain to set up if you are just doing it by hand instead of by robot. So we are going to go ahead and make about 50 of them, and that'll at least reduce the pollution output a little bit during the daytime. But we, of course, don't have batteries to fully take advantage of those anyways. All right, there we go. We're going to need to work around that. I think we can remedy it pretty easily just by doing this and doing this. I'm wondering which one will run out first, boilers or steam engines. Looks like we have 11 more boilers, so that'll be our limiting factor. But I really don't think we're going to need more than this for a little while, so let's go ahead and just leave it here. And we can finish the job after. It's 6 per second versus 1,200. That's a 200 difference, right? You can run 200 boilers off of one offshore pump. Those things are godlike. Not only do they like hand crank, they don't actually need anything to work, but then they also just pump that much. That's so insane. I mean, I get hydropower, like empowering itself, perpetual power from itself is cool and all, but it's still a lot of water flow, and we're doing it the wrong way. Okay. So, because of the old small electric pole line here, we might not be able to get such a clean setup for our inputs on these, but that's not that big a deal. It's still relatively consistent, and everybody's happy. I have some extra radars. I just want to kind of scan things out a little bit more quickly if I can. And in an area I'm not going to be, so I don't have to hear that beeping. All right, we do need the extra range, so maybe we do just need to upgrade these electric poles. I was hoping every other, but it looks like it's every one or close to it. Yep. Dang, just slightly off. Okay, we'll just do it every one. It's not a big deal. Just a few small, medium electric poles. No big, no big. And there you have it. A lot more electricity support, all plugged into the grid. suddenly our production is much lower than we were previously concerned about. Copper flow is a little bit limited, though. These guys aren't getting all the copper they need. Obviously, I didn't really revolutionize my copper furnace setup, so at the very least, I should be upgrading these. And then maybe we can see how we're looking from there. Oh, even missing a couple. There you go. Yeah, as you can see, we're kind of drying out a little bit. There are some patches here and there, but we really just need to make sure that we're carting in some iron sooner rather than later. So we're going to actually need to clear up our inventory a lot just to be carrying around a lot of rail stacks. Is going to be the game plan. And then it looks like we're going to need plenty of this stuff too. So yeah, let me go ahead and grab my iron gear wheels. Grab my iron proper. Make sure we're getting a lot of conveyors, a lot of rails. And we're able to do something with that. Okay. I don't want to be crafting any iron gear wheels. That should be covered for me. That is my minimum expectation here. So go ahead, grab them there. And then even the yellow... Okay, yeah, even this is already kind of accounted for if I'm doing it properly. Now I've got my inventory so full, I don't know if I can avoid it, but we'll try to see what we can do. So I don't need these. Let's try to consolidate the best we can. The labs, we could... Right, oh, we have so many. Yeah, let's just go ahead and drop off the labs real quick. They're right over here. Speed along the conveyor belt. Do we want it to be like this? There's a few ways we can approach it. Let's say that we did double conveyors and we had another set of labs pulling in from here, right? Yeah, because I don't really know. I mean, theoretically, we have so many more science packs. We're going to have some crazy solution for the labs. But, you know, for now, I only have 5 more. These don't have to be all operational right now. If they're not going to get the green, it doesn't really matter. But at the very least, we have them down. And then we'll do red inserters to make them happy. And what we're going to do is swing the blue onto the outside. So it'd be like down here, in theory. And make it so that it's... I don't know if should we assume it's going to be close or far. Let's do close for now. Again, we can always change this stuff up later. Is this a waste of my conveyor belts? I would say so, but... Let's go ahead and go from there. Now we at least have some inventory space there. Landfill. I think it's worth grabbing a little bit of landfill as we go along. More conveyors, more conveyors. I guess if we just have stacks of transport belts and gear wheels, then we don't actually need to have a bunch of iron on us. Let's put back that and then grab from this transport belt thing, and that'll help a lot. See, you're just like hard crafting these, which is great. Okay, that's way too much. Alrighty, well, at least we tapped into that as much as we could. Cancel those. And work with whatever else we can. Yeah, we're going to be short on iron very soon. We are racing the clock at this point. We have plenty of extra, like, randomly lying around, but that doesn't mean it's usable. Can I drop these real quick and then make my move? Don't really have a layout in mind, but improvisation is something. I don't know the quote. I don't know any quotes about improvisation. I've definitely heard them, but that doesn't mean I know them. Post your favorite quote about... What's the... Jeez. Now I've even lost the word. It's just stuff is flying out of my brain. First I can't post a quote out of it. Now I can't even think of what the word was. It's the thing you do when... Improvisation. There you go. So, if post your favorite quote about improvisation in the comments, and we'll decide who has the best one. It's the father invention or something? I actually cannot remember it, but it doesn't matter. It does not matter. What does matter is there's one extra spot that I need to address right here. As soon as this is finished, now we're good. Not too finicky, but like, come on. One extra guy there. Okay. Iron is breaking. 217k left. That's not great. So yeah, I do think it is now. Well, that's weird. If you're on the map, you can open an inventory, and it's like, I think it's like for, you know, placing things on the grid when you don't have them in your inventory necessarily, like when you're manipulating stuff from another space. Alrighty. So, game plan is we want iron. There's a million iron right there. We're going to bring it down to our furnaces. Let's just keep it simple. So we'll do that. Is our copper okay? Is copper still not great? But that would be, you know, if we're worried about our blue input, which we're really not right now. We're actually worried more about our green input. So, oh, look at that. Dropped all that on the floor. Go ahead and just pick that up. Nobody saw it. We good? Alrighty, we're gonna have to say we're good, whether we mean it or not. Let's think about how we want our depots to look. We're gonna do some trains. So we're gonna be bringing this in to the west and then to the south and then have an export here. What we really want more than anything is cancel this. I really want some bulk inserters. That would be a great way to make our train system work better. We've got all the basic train stuff, but that makes just this huge difference. Huge difference. Increase yield from all mining drills and pump jacks. I do not believe that it increases how much productivity. Would you say productivity... I mean, when you think of a productivity module, actually it says it like right here, right? You know, productivity module creates extra project at a cost of increased energy consumption and reduced speed. So it gives you more for what you're putting in. In that context, I would say it's really nice to have that because it gives you more for what you put in on the resources on the ground. If, however, it just increases the rate, that just means that I go broke faster. And that's not ideal. One thing I did just now think of, I can go ahead and force these inserters in. And I can even theoretically pull some inserters here and put a few of those in here as well. I'm worried, however, it might take for my inventory, in which case I have to grab some back. But, you know, we get some green moving, which is good. Inserters are rolling, they're doing their thing. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be setting up a depot, a loading station, just a very simple one, nothing crazy. But one thing that we can do, is grab rails. That's kind of important. And I'll just put these in a box here. So if I ever want to expand on this, I've got boilers and stuff right there. Perfect. Thoughtful littering, you know? We have a plan of action now. It's completely different. All right, so what we can do is grab a bunch of rails and then build a cool railway. And that should be a cool way to close things out for today. Definitely want to fill our inventory up as much as possible. Even use my trash as some free inventory spots for the moment. And then I guess we could start here. I would like to bring my car over. Unfortunately, the car's all the way over there. So we're going to get even more into the littering with some car manufacturing. It's probably going to yell at me that I don't have space. And it is too right. Too right. Now we have space. All as planned. Exactly as planned. So we got the car down here. Put some coal into it. And then we'll go ahead and say here is going to be a great way to run a rail line. So that's just ghosting it. Not necessarily what we needed. But I was curious how it all works now. So they did make some small changes to this stuff, but this is your starting point here. I think they made it so trains can turn slightly faster, which is really nice. Sometimes you just had a more limited turn rate space and you wanted just a slightly better turn, and now we can do that. Yeah. So we can go ahead and say this. Is it good? Let's go Spazzani. Okay, now we want to do this, and then we can rotate. Yeah, sometimes it gets a little finicky. But that's because we were just too close, guys. That's just because we're too close. Now, as far as distance between the trains, what we're going to want to do, and actually I should have loaded this up before I placed a single track. This, I hit F5 here, and this is going to load up the chunks. This is going to load up the grid that shows us where everything is in divisions of 64 by 64, which is the chunks. And what we can then do is make sure that it aligns properly, because what you can see here is the problem with rails is they do not fit on odd numbers. They fit in the first chunk, or first couple rows, they fit in the last couple rows, but they do not fit on like starting at column 2 and going into column 3. They don't like that. So what we're going to be doing is making sure that we are respecting the chunks, so that we can copy these and utilize these better later. So in that context, we really just need the iron ore to go in there. I'm happy to just do this. And then if I can... Yeah, that's perfect. All right. And then we want this one where we say this, right? However, we want to put a fixed amount of distance between these. What I'm going to be doing for all my rails is going to be putting in, I believe it's 4 spaces in between. Is it 4 or 6? I believe it was, the problem that I did before was I've only left 2 spaces in between, but I believe it's 4 that we want in between for parallel rails. So we're going to be trying to kind of get it onto this line here. So let's go ahead and see if we can just plan for that. This looks fine to me. The closest we can get is here, but just to kind of, we'll go ahead and bring it up to this line, and then we'll try to match it up where I'm talking. So we'll do that. I'm sure there are more efficient ways to do this. It's just one of those things that I've gotten better at trains. I get a better idea. So here's the mistake. If I did 2 here, that would be too close. But doing 4 here, quite good, quite effective. So we'll go ahead and do that. And now, at least for now, we can go ahead and take the chunks off and just make sure that we are running it just as mentioned right here. Okay, I guess I have to just kind of follow it piece by piece, because if I go too far ahead, then it's just going to ghost it, which robots like ghosts, but humans do not. Must be a mortality thing. But now these can just go like vertically, no problem at all. And this is where we'd want a car. So let's go back. Pull some of this stuff. Put away some other stuff. It's a lot of stuff we're not going to need for a while. But we're good. I guess I can just throw it in the trunk and hope that it gets to where it needs to go later. Or not. You know, I ditched an entire car over there, so... Could be anything in the future. But for now, we're just building. Up to the point where the iron will be, and then we're going to take a nice 90-degree turn there. We'll eventually get some blueprints mapped out to have this all cleaned up, but my idea is I don't like using other people's blueprints because I feel like that can make the builds very cookie cutter. I like to craft my own. Sometimes I'll spend time making them real nice offline for y'all, but I'm not too worried about it. Oh wait, there is another function though. There is a new feature I really wanted to test out. This is really cool. So this is a pre-planner you can do in the game. Oh my god, that's so good. Oh, that looks really good. Okay, so what if we did this and then we just had like a depot for loading and unloading? If we have to stick to the right side because we're doing this American way, then we want to make sure we have bays for extra trains, but honestly just one is gonna be fine. It's not that big of a deal. So yeah, I'd say just this will work. There's gonna be some trains in the way. I did make a couple grenades, maybe that'll help. We have to make sure there's enough space for all these guys to get through, all this stuff to get through. So let's say it's here. Oh, chunks is not loaded though, so you know, technically speaking, we're not doing it by the 64 block rules or something. I don't know, but it's all good. Yeah, so the reason that I was a bit worried about the spacing between these is because at intersections, there's only so many places that you can put down a rail signal. There's like specifically, if the curve is too curvy, then it'll block off some spots where it's not able to be filled. Now, I don't know if this has been fixed in 2.0. I know there have been a lot of little changes to trains, but for right now, it's better safe than sorry. Let's just go ahead and give it the extra little bit of separation on those parallel lines. We'll figure it out after. So this works for me. It does feel snappier though. It doesn't feel like it's like so clunky of like this has to connect. I was especially coming from Factorio where they have some of the worst train interlocking things. It takes like so much more time to set up a larger rail network because you have to manually put down a lot of pieces and arrange it in a specific way. So this will be better, especially with the robots, but even now. Yeah, get those trees out of here. The chainsaw comes in. Okay, so yeah, as far as where I'm at, we're technically 2 blocks low compared to where I'd prefer to be. But it also means that we should be able to avoid all this oil, which is more important, honestly. Oil is like the one thing that you can't really relocate. Oil and water, but even water's less of an issue. I guess I can just put it in a straight line here, and then it'll tell me what to chop. Or we pull out our new friend, the hand grenade, and see how that works. I thought you could just throw these. Is there a button I have to hold down, or? Okay, guns work. Is that worth it? Maybe not. Oh, there we go. Right click. Perfect. And one more. Boom. We're clear. That'll work. Little damage to our property, but It'll all work out in the end. Okay, that's kind of fun actually. That makes me the tearing down trees part a little better for me. Let's go ahead and fix a few pieces here. All right, keep chugging away. No harm, no problems. Grab our car. Make some more grenades. Always worthwhile. Don't have any coal. No problem. The cool thing is we can use the same railway for copper since it's actually quite nearby. I don't even know why I didn't think about that, but that's actually really nice. So we might want to stretch this a little bit further. Actually, no, it's fine. We'll just have the stop here and then, you know, we can extend it when we extend it. For now, just get it back. We have plenty of copper still. 263k will get us probably to purple. Guess I can make a few more of these mining drills. Yeah, the nice thing is we already have the electric set up and it's gonna be great. So for right now, we're just gonna go ahead and focus on getting a loop. Can I just, what if I, yeah, did like, put this here and then did this to here. Oh my gosh, it's so easy now, guys. What the hell? This is nice. Obviously, with robots to place it, it would be the best, but like, this is nice. And I'm still screwing it up somehow. There we go. Yeah, we'll have a better plan for like how this all is going to work when we get to the copper node, but right now I just want to get that iron back before we start falling apart at the seams and not getting any more production out of our labs and our science assembly machines. Yeah, you kind of have to do it piece by piece. That's fine. That's fine. Like I said, a lot of the rail work I'm going to be wanting to do once the construction bots are online. But even this is a good result so far. So I did have like a pretty perfect like chunk line system that would accommodate a two-car train. Two separate is fine for this. I'm trying to remember what it was. I think it was like here. That would have. Forgive me. This one. Okay, it must be that. I believe. So let's go ahead and try that. And there's just enough space for like, yeah. So what I could do now, I think, is if I, yeah, just do this. And then there's a button to flip horizontally, which I do not remember looking it up. All right, there it is. It's H and V by default. These are, it's cool. You actually can even magnifying glass through your controls, which is great. Anyways, if I want to go ahead and do that, I can set it up right here like this. Take out the extra pieces that we do not need. And see how it all kind of collides in the middle. But for right now, kind of nice guide to make sure that I'm not going too far off the rails. Okay, I'm never going to do that again. Anyways. Then we have the train stops themselves. I feel like this had more space. Like it was actually able to do more. Was it a double? Maybe it was like 2. So maybe I do the same curve inward, but I want to do it in 2 spaces instead of 1. Does that make sense? I don't think I have the space for it here. So in theory... Okay. Yeah, we could just do it like here, hit H, flip here. This should work fine. This should be plenty of space. And bam. There it is. It all matches up. It all works out. Cool. And then we can put our train stop here for sure. And there it is. All right. So yeah, you can see here it says that you basically you can have 4 cars here, but it's not going to be able to load into the 4th one very well. So I would cap it at 3. I'm going to go ahead and do 2. I think 1 plus 2 is a pretty good general game plan. We're going to give this guy some coal that I thought I had, but may have discarded or turned it. I turned it into grenades, didn't I? Of course I did. You run on spoilage now. You run on dead fish. Congratulations. We can now make our special inserters. We don't have a lot, but I think I only need 8, so it's okay. Man, they build fast. That's nice. And what we're going to do... Okay, no, I was wrong. The math is you need 12. Well, did what we could. It's all good. Still fits all here. Yeah, what we're gonna do is put steel here for loading, and then do fast inserters along the spots here. Funny thing is the power is actually already available. We just have to bring it up from here. And we'll go ahead and just put it here. Cool. So that's the game plan. The game plan is to just kind of fill up a belt with all this stuff. There's a few other ways to do it so it's more balanced on inputs and outputs. I'm not worried about that right now. I just want to get it back home. So, time to drill. It doesn't even let you place it if it's not on a spot, but I try to make it a little bit more efficient. Say, well, if we're just at least hitting the whole patch, we're pretty happy. So let's say, and like, but the bulk of it is still going to be here. So maybe I'll just do this and not off kilter, walking drunk. And then maybe I'll have a couple that pick up this slack here instead of a whole line of it. I like that. Good. And then I do, like I said, I do 2 spaces here to avoid overlap because they do cover 1 extra tile past themselves, as you can see on the little thing. We'll just have that hanging around. This is great though. Right now, yeah, we'll go ahead and put them together. Along with a little bit from here. And we would load from here. All right, and this, of course, the chests just give it a little buffer so that if you ever have some rate issues between what's being picked up and put down, that is going to resolve that for you. That will not reach, so we'll do 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. Actually, this one might be able to go higher. Yeah. And then, yeah, these guys... minimum coverage right there. Cool. Like that better. Alrighty. Plenty of ore coming in. All of it being filled into the train. Most of it going here. I guess we can make this slightly more appropriately distributed by doing that. And even doing this, since that's going to be the first one to go with. All right. It's run on spoilage, but it does work. It does not have a stop to take it home, though. I did not bother to put a train stop there. Do I want to pick up the car? Do I have the inventory space? I do. Okay. Well, that gives us some coal, so we don't have to run on fish if we don't want to. Yeah, so we can go ahead and put the coal in instead. Alrighty, then if we think it's all good, which is not bad, that's for sure. Let's go ahead and name this stop. Boom, boom, boom. So yeah, this whole UI is going to be a little bit different than usual. There's a lot of little things that change, but I'm just going to keep it simple for now. Iron mine 1. And we'll go from there. Load up quite a bit. Good haul. We are going to be going manual for a second here, as we now need to go all the way back around to the other side. Full speed ahead. They still don't have a honk the train horn button, though, so Factory's got this one beat in one way. And then that's going to be fine for now. What you're going to be doing is setting up a station, Iron Mine 1, and the wait condition is for waiting for full cargo, right? Yeah. You could say, like, if you want to keep things moving, you can add an or condition of like 30 seconds, 60 seconds, whatever, but I'm not too concerned about that. I wanted to bring in the full cargo every time, and it shouldn't take too long for that to be the case now that it's actually gotten going. But we do need this train stop here. As we saw, what we can do is we can then copy paste exactly what we did over here, which though we can't see it, I think we can still interact with it. Yeah, you can see all this stuff is getting picked up. So, like I said, the whole chunk system works pretty well here. I believe this should all match. Not exactly what I wanted. Maybe we break this curve. And then I get closer to here. So the second row and those are the rows that will need it. So we'll go ahead and do this here. And then, like I said, you can just go to the map, say, I'm placing rails right here to right here. That's insane. That's so good. Wow. 4 years of development well spent. This is great. I love 2.0. May have screwed that one up, but that's okay. Wait, can't I? No, I can't because, yeah, the basic mechanical limitations of the scenario. Okay, there we go. Just a little small degree tweak there. And we're moving up the line. Perfect. And then it should be smooth sailing from here. And then likewise doing this. Nope. One more, huh? Works though. And you can very clearly tell if you're on the mark or if you're slightly off based on the color feedback as well. I love that. And then, yeah, we can go ahead and set a train station here. Now, it's going to have Iron Mine as the name because it's a copy paste, but we can go ahead and say Iron Smelting 1. And then, load things in. We're going to need to grab some bulk inserters to make this all work together. Take this grid off. Sorry about that. But we can go ahead and set up our first deliveries now that we have all the details. So this is going to go automatic. Probably should have done that earlier. That's okay. And then add station, smelting, and our weight condition is... Cargo is empty. Empty cargo? Has cargo false? Empty cargo, there it is. Okay. So you can see it's about half full right now, and it's going to be very full soon. And it'll just keep moving along. I think that will be plenty of throughput for us to just keep things rolling constantly. But if it's not, then we can always add a second train and go from there. Now, I do need to make some bulk inserters, which means I need advanced circuits. That's what I'm lacking. I was curious why I couldn't make them up there, and now we know. We're not advanced enough. We'll figure that out soon. And you can always do something like this if you really want, where it's output priority is right. But if it does have extra, then you can always put it in a box. Always nice to lock in a little bit there. Yeah, not too bad. Little extra green. Didn't hurt. And it will get used for these as well, so. Need the iron gear wheels. Pickups, which we might not have that many of. Available over here. It says we have 1,500, never mind. Are using quite a few for these, but it's worth it. Alright, that should cover my bulk inserter needs for a while. Really only needed at the train stations for this stage of the game. Though we'll have plenty of uses in the future. Alrighty, and more iron gear wheels, because, of course, it always helps, right? I spilled it again. I knew I was going to do it, and I clicked the button anyways. That's fine. All right. Don't tell anybody, please. All right, drop the car off here. Put some spoilage in it, I guess. All right, let's go ahead and say that we want the bulk inserters to do this and this. We need to make some more steel. I was going to say steam chests. I wonder how exactly that would work, but you know. We are not great on electric poles, so we're going to have to make sure we get some of those too. Luckily, I'm at the exact place I want to be to restock for that. Alrighty. I believe there might be a hotkey to like make more than just 5 at a time, like 50 or something, or a stack, but I forget which it is. I only know from off the top of my head recall 50 or everything that you possibly can make. Those are my two. It's kind of all or nothing, but it's fine. All right, what's going on with my train? He's chilling here, but he's not full. Why wouldn't he be full by this point? He's not moving. I can't actually think of a reason that would be, but my radar is just slightly out of range. So we will finish this up. Because the back one should be getting some, not necessarily all the boxes would be feeding the train, but some should be feeding the train. Unless there's something seriously wrong. Now, of course, right now, these guys are not set up super well to take in iron because they also need coal. But that is why we have been working towards electric furnaces. And we're going to NQ research. I didn't know NQ was a word, but I appreciate that now that I know it. How much have we NQ'd? We have NQ'd 250. It's quite a lot. I was going to try to like do another little boost to our inserter production to hopefully allow for... This guy's just doing it to the chest. That's fine, but like... Okay. Yeah, like there's no harm in him just putting it on the line half the time. So we'll go ahead and say iron for everyone. And that'll keep that moving. And I believe that's all we need, right? We have red and we have blue aplenty. It's just going to be that green that we need to work on a bit. So we'll send it down the line. In the meantime, I did want to drop off my rails in the box where I can, so that I'm not the rail man, at least for not right now. I think we're in the clear for rails for a bit, right? So, a few ways we can approach this. At the end of the day, we need iron way more than we need coal. Oh, God, I thought that was an alien. Oh, my gosh. So the first biter that I see in this playthrough, I think is a robot just handing me some nice supplies. And then suddenly a train comes out from the corner, and I'm like, okay, this thing is going to kill me. I don't know what to expect anymore. I'm... All right, maybe we fuse these together. That way we can fit to a splitter and keep it even. Not that that's necessary. Should be necessary in any way, but it's all good. All right. Yeah, I can't wait until I start fighting aliens I've never seen before in my entire life, and I have no idea how to react. Move the car through here, and then... Oh, the coal stays on the line. That's perfect. It'll actually last just long enough for me to realize that an entity is being damaged by something in the coal line. Could it be? There was a biter. That's what I was spooked by, guys. Not the train. It was a biter that somehow magically got here. Why, though? How, though? Where did you come from? Okay, so south is being aggroed a bit. That's fine. Set up the perimeter. We're not going to get into that this episode. We have plenty of other things that we will be working on when we get to our next day of factory, but I think this is about the time we should call it. Hour and 52 minutes. Very productive hour and 52 minutes. Our game plan moving forward is going to be, we are going to be getting the advanced material processing. We're going to be taking what we can in terms of advanced circuits to make these electric furnaces, and that will smooth out any issues here where we don't even need to worry about coal anymore, and should help a lot across the board. So we've got some trains, some basic train stuff going underway. We may need to figure out exactly why this guy was feeling so sad about his inventory, but we'll just make sure we get those bulk inserters set up there. In the meantime, yeah, I guess probably a good idea to make a radar here on the far west side. Also probably good to fill it with coal. This is definitely the place to do it, considering we do have a coal mine. And again, that's not near the turret coverage either. Unfortunate. I hear you, I hear you. Alright, a little belt there, no real harm. Let's go ahead and just grab a couple of these, put them in range of each other. Let's just grab the whole clip and say you guys can split 50. Or double that. No, thank you. Can I do not like this alert. That's the only thing, and I'm sure there's a way to fix it, because this game's amazing and has settings for changes for everything, but for right now, it's very annoying for me. Okay. It's just like, I think there should just be like a 10-second cooldown or more of, you've just placed this entity. I'm not going to tell you that it needs this stuff. Like, don't bother sending that alert, you know? Of course you need to put turret ammo in. Okay. We were getting coal before we got distracted by the alien menace. So let's go ahead and do that. Looks prettier over here, actually. And probably more like this right here. And yes, I do recognize there are lines existing that I could do this with. I could much more simply just put the coal line here. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll just delete that. Yes, I do recognize this is a better idea, so I'm going to do that better idea now. Getting all sorts of turned around, but there we go. A little symmetry. Do we need a box, or do we just put it on the line? I usually just put it on the line. I'm just kind of worried about eventually running out of coal and then being like, oh, learning too late, that I need to fix that. So we'll do the box. If I can click buttons. Bulk? Doesn't hurt to have a bulk inserter. Let's go ahead and put this guy here. Bulk inserter here. 39 of them. There's just no way that I'm actually going to need that. Alrighty. Yeah, these guys are a little mad about coal, but that's fine. We'll get it figured out. And soon they'll be upgraded to the electrical version, which will be great. Are we good? I believe we are good. We can definitely... I'll probably offline add the bulk inserters here and add a radar up here. And then when we come back, we'll be back in Factoryville with a working full-time iron line. Won't that be something? Okay, advanced material processing. Boom. Use research technology. Okay, cool. So getting little achievements here and there, and also finding we are conveyor belt trapped into a weird spot. Let's go ahead and just we could do it. We can unparallel park. Get me out of here. Yes, I could just pick up the car, but thanks for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and have a great night in Factory. Bye.